Coming up on Grady Newsource, how social media is bringing Athens together, giving what they have while taking what they need.
It's blue skies and sunshine right now, but is it going to last? We'll find out more with the 5-day forecast coming up.
G-Day is this Saturday, but I'm here today to make sure you're prepared. Coming up, I'll be here live in Sanford Stadium with everything you need to know about Georgia sports this week.
All of this and more coming up live at 5.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College of the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening and welcome to Grady Newsource. I'm Colin Oakes. We come on the air tonight after another mass shooting. 4 people are dead in Louisville, Kentucky, and 9 are injured. Grady Newsource reporter Rachel Branning has been following this story all day. Rachel, what's the latest?
Shooting took place a little after 8:30 this morning at the Old National Bank in Louisville, leaving 4 dead as well as the shooter, and 6 of the victims are still in the hospital, with 3 in critical condition. Just a short while ago, the Louisville Metro Police Department held a press conference with the mayor and the Kentucky governor. The interim police chief says that the officers responded to the scene 3 minutes after receiving the call and that police shot and killed the alleged gunman. Police also say that 2 officers were injured in the shooting, including one that was sworn in just last month, who's in critical condition. We also learned at the press conference that the 23-year-old alleged shooter was an employee of the bank and that he was live streaming the incident. The police chief says that the police are hopeful that they can get that footage taken down. We continue to follow this story and will keep you updated with the latest information. Live in the newsroom, Rachel Branning, Grady Newsource.
Turning our attention to Nashville now, where the fate of expelled Democratic state lawmaker Justin Jones is set to be determined by the Nashville Metropolitan Council. Today, members will vote on whether to reinstate him back into the state's House of Representatives. Jones was one of the 2 black lawmakers expelled by a Republican supermajority last week for taking part in a gun reform protest on the House floor. Several local community groups are taking action tomorrow to express their concern about legislation recently passed by the Georgia Assembly. Grady Newsource reporter Logan Crump gives us more information on a rally for social justice happening tomorrow evening at the Rally for Justice. It is National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, the most exciting week of the year. It is observed to honor the service of those who work in the public safety telecommunications field. Grady Newsource reporter Cooper Camp has more details on what happens after you dial 911.
Have you ever wondered what happens when you call 911? We've always been taught to know and call that number in case of an emergency, but we don't always know what goes into it. Once the operator answers the call in the situation of a medical emergency, certified emergency medical technicians like Cade are sent to where you are.
And it'll just come through the radio, and it'll basically say our call sign, and it'll give us priority 1 or priority 2. Priority 1 is when we go lights and sirens. Priority 2 is without that. And they'll basically just give us patient age, what the chief complaint is, and the address. And we'll hop in and go at that point. And a lot of times they'll give you very basic information, and then when you get there, it's a lot different, a lot more serious or less serious than you imagined.
Despite their crucial role, the number of emergency medical technicians is declining nationwide. Cade's reasoning for getting his certification was to get clinical hours, but he said the most rewarding part of it was serving his community.
So instead of being a scribe or an MA, I just want to be an EMT specifically because I knew I was going to get to go out in the community and actually to have care with patients, talk to them, see them.
No matter how big or small the emergency, 911 operators will ask a series of questions to the caller, such as where they are, the address of the area, what number they're calling from, the type of emergency, and the details regarding the severity of it. So whenever you see an ambulance or emergency service personnel this week, try to remember all of the work that they are doing behind the scenes. Cooper Camp, Grady Newsource.
2 judges have issued conflicting rulings centered around abortion pill access. Grady Newsource reporter Juliana Washburn talked to a law professor about the implications. Jules, what did you learn?
Yes, Colin, the nation is currently reacting to a ruling by a Texas federal judge from Friday. The judge ordered the FDA to suspend the approval of a popular abortion drug called mifepristone. That same day, a judge in Washington state issued an opposing rule to protect access to the drug. So we have two rulings that completely conflict with each other. I spoke about the rulings with an associate professor of law at UGA, and this is what he says we can expect in the coming days and even weeks.
We'll see a lot of activity and potentially another blockbuster Supreme Court decision involving abortion treatment and access to kind of reproductive health.
Khan says if the Texas decision is ultimately upheld, it would directly affect us here in Georgia.
Become that much harder to access an abortion in Georgia and in every state, essentially, even though it's just coming out of this one district court in Texas. So it's a pretty remarkable decision in terms of its impact on our nation.
And changes could happen in just a few days, but that's the update for now. Back to you, Colin.
Thank you, Jules. And if you're a movie buff like me and are looking to watch some up-and-coming films, a festival at the University of Georgia is spotlighting local talent this week. Grady Newsource reporter Josh Talevsky is live at the Tate Student Center. Josh, what more can you tell us about the festival?
We'll be back this week for G-Day, and I'll be back after the break. Here at Sanford Stadium, there's not a whole lot.
Second ever Backlight Film Festival. Now, soon a winner will emerge from among the 9 finalists, and that will happen right behind me here in the Tate Theater. Now, I'll be back with more later in the show, but I'll send it back to Clay in the studio for now.
This week is shaping up to be one of the best weeks of weather we have seen this year. The sky should be clear and blue with temperatures reaching high 70s the majority of the week. I'll have your 5-day forecast after the break. We will also hear from Ashley Balsavius about the Masters tournament over the weekend in Augusta, where some rough weather caused multiple trees to fall in the field of play. And Georgia football is back this weekend with G-Day kicking off Saturday afternoon. All that and more when we return.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Welcome back. I'm Clay Britton with your 5-day forecast. Today began off rather cold and cloudy with a high of 64 and a low of 39, but it started clearing up this afternoon, but was still on the low end of temperatures, so a jacket wasn't a bad idea. Tomorrow will be a bit warmer with a high of 71 and a low of 42, and that warm weather will continue into Wednesday where we'll have a high of 77 and a low of 46, with that'll probably be the last clear day of weather that we see this week as we head into Thursday. Thursday, there'll be a high of 78 with a low of 56. And it should be rather clear in the morning, but the chance of rain will increase to the afternoon and into Thursday night. Friday, we'll have a high of 71 and a low of 58. And with an 84% chance of rain, it is not a bad idea to stay inside. Coming up in 8 minutes, we hear from a turkey hunter here at UGA about how the weather affects gobblers during the hunting season.
Well, Easter has come and gone, but egg-citement is still in the air. I'm sorry, I just couldn't resist. But Grady Newsource reporter Maddie McCaffrey stopped by to capture all of the excitement in Commerce after yesterday's celebration.
Live music, carnival rides, and even dance competitions for the kids where winners each walked away with a brand new bike.
I mean, we feel safe, we feel welcome. It's all about family and giving back, so I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Community, family, and fun. That's what the day was all about here at Cheney Park in Commerce for their 2023 Egg Drop Easter celebration. The White Family Funeral Home put the day together with the purpose in mind.
Bible says, give and it shall be given unto you. So we want to give back and we want to be seen giving in the community.
Working with local businesses and churches, the White Family Funeral Home wanted it to be a day of paying it forward, filled with giveaways and fun activities.
Being able to give kids not just one snack, but 2 or 3, 4 or 5, just as much as they wanted.
But right now, Easter for one family in Jackson County means celebrating without one of their loved ones, as Michelle Roebuck has been in the hospital since January.
Everything has been dedicated in honor of Michelle Roebuck.
Roebuck's family remains hopeful for her recovery.
And we already know that God is a healer, and He is going to heal her, and her favorite song is He's an on-time God. Yes, He is.
Overall, the theme of the day was
love, love. I hope everybody can get love out of this.
Reporting in Jackson County, Maddie McCaffrey, Grady Newsource.
A big first step to a three-peat for the UGA football team happens this weekend. Grady sports reporter Ashley Balsavius is live outside Sanford Stadium with the latest.
It might not be football season, but Saturdays in Athens will be back this week for G-Day, and I'll be back after the break.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, that's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
I'm Ashley Ashley Balsavius with your Grady Newsource Sports. I'm here live at Sanford Stadium. There's not a whole lot going on right now, but this Saturday, these empty seats will be packed for G-Day. The back-to-back national champs will split into two teams, giving fans a preview of what the 2023 football season will look like with a new class of recruits. And with quarterback Stetson Bennett gone, the Bulldogs are still trying to figure out who's going to replace him. Gates open this Saturday at 1 p.m. with kickoff at 4. And the dog walk will be at 2:45 at the Tate parking lot. Tickets are $5, but they're free for students, and all you need to do to get a ticket is go to georgiadogs.com. And that's not the only thing happening with Georgia sports this week. The track and field team took home 24 wins at the Spec Towns and Torrin Lawrence Invitational on Friday. First-year sprinter Autumn Wilson won the 200-meter dash in just over 22 and a half seconds, taking over the number 5 spot in school records for the event. The baseball team won their first SEC series of the year yesterday versus Kentucky, winning a pair of 7-inning games. The team takes on Clemson tomorrow at 7 p.m. in Foley Field. And the number 7 ranked men's tennis team defeated number 20, Florida yesterday 4-3, giving the team a chance to compete at the SEC Championship for the 32nd time in the program's history. And coming up this week, the women's golf team will travel to Birmingham for the SEC Championships. That starts on Wednesday and ends on Sunday. And the equestrian team will travel to Florida to compete in the National Collegiate Equestrian Association Championship starting on Thursday, 1:30 p.m. versus Oklahoma State. That's all for sports. I'll see you in Sanford here this Saturday. Back to you in the studio, Colin.
Thank you, Ashley. Last week marked the start of turkey season in Georgia, but the weather wasn't too ideal in the North Georgia area. The weather can affect turkeys in many different ways, and with unpredictable weather we have here in Georgia, it is important for hunters to understand how different weather might affect their hunt. I spoke with an avid hunter here at UGA about how he adapts to the weather when hunting a gobbler. Here's what he had to say.
It's April. We've had a lot of cold weather lately, and that kind of confuses them. It gets one week is hot and nice, and the other week is cold. Then when it's cold, they're confused and they don't want to gobble or participate at all. If it's foggy outside, they won't gobble because they get nervous that predators, if we'll hear them. If they do start gobbling, it's foggy and they can't see them. So typically stay on the roost longer, not fly down till late.
Joe had luck in the first 2 days of the season where he was able to take down 2 turkeys, and he says the weather earlier on this week looks good for hunting. Back to you, Colin.
That's all for your Grady Newsource weather. And coming up after the break, we are all on social media, and sometimes it can be hard to connect with one another behind our screens. But one local Facebook group is proving this theory wrong. After the break, how one click can link people with help in their times of need.
We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters. Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. But I need that back. No. Kevin!
One Facebook group is making a big impact in the Athens community. With over 2,000 members, Mutual Aid Athens is bringing people together. Grady Newsource reporter Olivia Joachim brings us the story.
Hair dryers at Ayla Ferris Salon are a common sound for Callie Schneiderwind. But it wasn't always like this. Schneiderwind moved to the Athens area about 2 years ago after separating from an abusive partner. She brought her 5 kids to Georgia for a fresh start.
Trying to navigate the different avenues of support, you can get kind of hopeless. And so I was just struggling to buy groceries.
8 months ago, Schneiderwind found support in an unexpected place, the Mutual Aid Athens Facebook group. After sharing her story, she received an outpouring of support. A member even went grocery shopping for her family.
Sometimes I don't think people realize that impact. I gave her a huge hug and she was kind of like, it's okay, it's not that big of a deal, but for us it was a really big deal.
The group is private, but anyone can join after answering a few questions. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, over 10 million people a year are physically abused by a partner. Schneiderwind said fleeing domestic abuse left her feeling isolated, but Mutual Aid gave her a space where she found support. Joel Isler, a part-time professor at the University of Georgia, says Mutual Aid addresses gaps and failures in the government. He calls it solidarity, not charity.
Or giving what you have and taking what you need.
Mutual aid could mean sending a few dollars to help someone with their utility bill, or it could be sharing resources you've heard about in the area. It can also be more hands-on than that. One member grows edible crops in his neighborhood, which he gives out to mutual aid members. Moderator Ariel Alexis's role in Mutual Aid Athens starts with typing up Facebook posts. She organizes the online portion of the group by sharing information and centralizing resources for other members.
We need these smaller groups and smaller entities of community-focused care because there's always going to be need in the community itself.
Isler says there are some barriers to having a group that's based online.
It's with the assumption that people have regular, constant access to the internet.
Alexis says the group has had several big successes, like organizing a Christmas gift program which provided about 50 families with gifts.
That's been my favorite personal change in the group, is just people being a little more actively involved in helping others.
Schneiderwind wants to use her own skills to help people in Mutual Aid Athens.
I can cut hair, and that doesn't cost me anything, but it makes a big impact.
It's a community they're building one Facebook post at a time. For Grady Newsource, Olivia Wakeham.
Now that was an interesting story, Olivia. Now, how did you find this Facebook group?
Well, Colin, my friend actually sent me a link to the group a long time ago, and I've just been quietly watching and noticing what's been going on over the past few months. And during that time, I realized that people are really active in the group, and they're really friendly, and it's just something I'd never seen before, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about it and how they've been running it.
That's awesome. Now, can you tell us why they run the group on Facebook?
Yeah, so Ariel Alexis actually told me that it can be hard for people to find resources just by Googling. It takes a lot of time, and sometimes information is just out of date. So what she does is she compiles it into a graphic, and people can easily save it on their phones from Facebook. She also said that Facebook allows you to easily choose which communities you join. She also said that a lot of people are familiar and comfortable with Facebook, which opens the platform up to a lot of different age demographics who might need help. Finally, she said that Facebook really encourages conversations in a way that, like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram don't as much. So it's a great way to facilitate more interaction on the site.
Well, thank you for sharing that story, Olivia. Now we send it back to Josh Talevsky live at the Tate Center with another update on the Backlight Film Festival.
Thank you so much, Colin. Well, 300 to 400 people are expected to be in attendance at the Backlight Film Festival, which starts this Thursday and will continue on Friday. A mixer, a red carpet walk, and much more are all part of the event throughout the 2 days. And now, believe it or not, 2 twin sisters actually helped co-found this event. And now, for more on it and what it means to them, be sure to tune in after the break.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back. Grady Newsource reporter Josh Talevsky is still live at the Tate Student Center to bring us more on a local film festival at the University of Georgia. Josh, what can you tell us now about this festival?
Thank you so much, Colin. I'm here at the Tate Center where the Backlight Film Festival will take place this Thursday and Friday. Now, the Grady College of Journalism is well represented at this event. The Entertainment and Media Studies majors have worked and provided many of the films that are among the finalists here, but also journalism and public relations students will also be here to cover the event. For more on the story, check out this. Posters are up at the Tate Student Center where the second ever Backlight Film Festival will be held this Thursday and Friday. Twin sisters Kate and Elisa DeCastro co-founded the festival with Raina Sklar with the hope of showcasing the talents of students within the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication.
The whole idea of a backlight is that it helps the subject pop off the background, and so we wanted this festival to be an opportunity that helps these up-and-coming filmmakers and up-and-coming students in general, like journalism, PR students, all shine and stand out against everyone else.
This Thursday, the judges and audience screen the short-length and mid-length films. The Luminary Award will also be given out, which recognizes alumni for their contributions to film and television. On Friday, Backlight will host a mixer for students to network with production companies and other industry professionals. Then a red carpet walk before the award ceremony where the winners will be announced. Robert Lovell, who is starring in the film 0 Day and participated in Backlight last year, is grateful for the opportunities and connections the festival has allowed him to make.
In the past, there wasn't a lot of way to see other people's work unless you met them and they sent you something like a YouTube link. Now you can go to a central place and you can kind of just get a showcase of what everyone's up to.
Kate DeCastro believes there are immense opportunities for students to grow through the event as well.
I think it's really important to see our filmmakers continue to grow and develop, especially as the Georgia film community is growing.
But the event is about more than just a shared love for film for the DeCastro sisters. It allows them to grow in their relationship with one another.
The way that Backlight has changed the culture, I think that it's made students want to make better films and work together more, collaborate more, and that means everything to us, and to do it with my best friend is the coolest thing in the world.
Colin, we will soon find out if Lovell will receive an award for his work this Friday. Now, that's all I've got for you on the Backlight Film Festival. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Josh. Now, whether your pet is furry, feathered, or has fins, it's time to celebrate them. Tomorrow is National Pet Day. According to the Census Bureau, nearly half of Americans have a pet. Dogs are the most common pairs of paws owned by Americans. 49 million homes have a pooch, while cats are the second most common. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention says owning a pet has some health benefits too. Walking or playing with your pet can reduce cholesterol levels, and pets can also reduce feelings of loneliness or depression. And that is all we have tonight. I'm Colin Oakes, and I hope you all have a great evening.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please. I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Hello. Well, this was our final news show because we have to tease the people. Thank you very much for watching these critiques and watching our shows. So for our viewers, we want to say that we have two final shows after this one. One of them will be featuring our solutions journalism work that we've done in a creative way, and the other one will be a reflection, just sharing with the viewers what it meant for you to go through the Hard Knocks Newsource experience. What did you learn? I want to hand it over before that to our wonderful technical team of volunteers. We could not broadcast without Sarah and her crew. Really great show, lots of moving, live stuff, a few curveballs, very well done. Sarah, it's over to you.
Yeah, guys, this was a really fun show to do technically. Obviously, this is the last show, but love doing shows like this where we are moving a lot of places. It makes the show way more interesting for people to watch. Having a lot of y'all get the chance to talk is really awesome. So really like that. But it is great when you can get stuff in, you get your scripts in, you get your packages in. So Sydney can tell me how this show is going to go, because when there are a lot of moving parts, I'd like to know when those are happening and where they are happening in my show, because it can help me communicate to them. Biggest thing too is getting the live shot people. We need to get their stuff in first so that we can send them out as soon as possible. Technically, things went great. We had Tom that could go out and make sure things work great. But again, my people are volunteers. They don't know how to work a lot of the equipment sometimes. And next year we will train them more heavily on that. But it is just really helpful when we can go ahead and troubleshoot things before the show starts. My other thing too is if y'all ever want to be a producer, Sydney literally doesn't want to even be a producer, and she was so fantastic. Oh my god, I can hear myself. But producers are in charge of your anchors, and when I don't have to talk to the anchors and can really rely on my producer to talk to anchors, it really takes another load off me, so where I can focus on my tech people. So really communicating to me, but communicating to everyone else, because I didn't know how good a producer could be until I saw Sydney, so yay. So yeah, but that's all I have. Thanks guys. Y'all did a great time. I can't wait for the last two shows. Woohoo.
And let me continue to embarrass our producer, Sydney, who is an awesome anchor. MMJ owns the screen like there's no tomorrow, but you also own the producer slot. This is your second time producing, and your first time was wonderful. This was even more creative. I loved those live teases and the fact that we kept teasing the festival. And Josh, if he's here, he did a great job. Loved Clay's tease and how you guys combined the weather and the sports in your tease. Very natural, very great presentation. The turkey hunting thing was right on the mark. But yeah, your show flow was wonderful. I think you had the best tease so far. I think you guys will agree, because it had the MMJ presence in it. I really liked the show from start to finish. You were right on top. I mean, she was like on the mic the whole time, and she was communicating with Josh, and she was giving people very specific instructions. The only time that you could have given Colin a more specific, a more useful instruction was when Logan's piece failed. He should have apologized. We couldn't have swept that under the carpet, and I'll tell you why. Because we had already introduced her by name, and we had promised, that she was going to report on that. So that's the only little, I always have to say something to take you to the next level. So that was the only time when you could have done something slightly differently. But again, you reacted very quickly, and Colin, you can tell us, how it felt to you. We had a lot of curveballs for you, and you handled them like a pro. That one, maybe you could have taken, be your best, as I say, when you're an anchor, be your own best advocate, and just kind of apologize. Once you mention a reporter's name, you're stuck with it. You can't sweep it under the carpet because you can't undo it because it's done. So just kind of explain, we're sorry, we'll try to get that report to you a little bit. Don't say package because people don't know. They'll think, that'll a mail package or something.
Yeah,
so
I'd
like to hear from you how that felt.
I didn't realize exactly what happened until I was
Yeah.
already well past it. So at that point it was,
Yeah. I totally understand. I've been in your shoes many, many times. But one rule of thumb, if you remember, once you've mentioned a reporter's name, there's no undoing that. You've got to apologize. And the usual way to do it is just to don't draw too much attention, but just say, we have some technical difficulties with this story. We'll try to get to it a little bit later. But in other news, and just kind of lift your voice a little bit or change the pitch or the tone, whatever. And in other news, no. You see, that's the only, I'm just kind of giving you ideas as to how to manage things that I promise you, unfortunately, will happen to you. Happens to the best of us, even in professional settings. Don't feel bad about it. It happens to others. And you handled everything very well. And I wanted to ask you, at your most genuine moments on air, how did that feel when you were, for example, the egg thing, when you played on the word, you were so genuine, you were enjoying yourself. How did that feel, and how can you think of how you can transfer that feeling of like you locked into it, you were really speaking to people directly, and you were engaging me, you were engaging everyone. Try to do more of that, even when they're more serious stories. Try to do more, however that felt. I don't know how it felt to you, but does it make sense? That feeling of when did you feel like at that moment you were not Ron Burgundy, you were yourself?
Yeah, I guess it's something that I just need to learn with more reps, but I don't know. I feel like I'm err on the side of caution a little more with serious stuff.
And that is normal.
Yeah.
That is normal because, you don't want to be flippant when the story deserves the right tone. And the way, the more you know about your stories, the more reps you get, the easier it will get for you to quickly judge what kind of tone and how to read something. But again, broken record moment, you've got to read. Just be a news junkie like me. You got to read, you got to know a lot. When you do this, know your content, know at least what the stories are about. And when you know the context, you can't go wrong with the right expression. But again, if you are not certain about how serious the story is, it's better to go with a neutral expression than, than really appear to be disrespectful or flippant about something. So that's a good way to handle it. It's better to be neutral than try to be very cute with something you're not serious about. So that's a good fallback. That definitely is a good fall. But just one more broken record moment to explain to you why it's so important. You may never use, or you may use just 10% of the things that you read in a day and you learn, but boy does it come in handy when you're doing breaking news, when you're uncertain, or when you don't quite, the story came to you in the last moment, you didn't have a chance to really get into it. But knowing the context can help guide you with that. And if there are moments when I haven't been certain, just like you, what is the right tone? Because the story happened and was popped up in the prompter and I was just told, read it because it's really important. I keep neutral, just like you. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I want to encourage you to remember that feeling when you were really genuine and to do more on that and try to. At the end, you could have smiled more, especially with Josh. Make sure even if the reporter doesn't toss back to you, thank them. And reporter, when you toss back to the studio or to the anchor, I don't think you tossed back to him and he didn't thank you. I don't remember that. I think it was you, not Jules. Jules, I think, tossed back to you and you thanked her. But that's something for you guys to remember. It's always pass the ball to the next person. And another workaround, if you, like me, you know me in names, you know how many names I've called you, Colin, and Clay. But when you are not certain about the name, like me, you know what you do? You just say, back to you in the studio. Can't go wrong with that because he is in the studio, right? So I'm just kind of giving you little workarounds if you have trouble remembering names like me or whatever. But that's good to pass the baton back and forth and thank each other. It creates continuity, and these are just little nitpicking things. Rachel and Jules, you guys did a great job on stories that were developing, especially Rachel, double duty. I think she deserves kudos from all of us and an applause. It was a very difficult story, and she was assignment editor. She pivoted, she monitored a live press conference, hoping for a soundbite, didn't get it. She described it, what she had heard. The only thing for the two of you, Jules and Rachel, we could tell that you were sneakily reading. And so the way I would suggest you, it's better not to read. I don't know, is it a teleprompter you're reading? What's going on there? Oh, it's under the camera. So that's why it's like. And it's best, from my experience, is to have those bullet points. You wrote it. So as long as you have that bullet point with the most important facts that you don't want to get wrong, glance down. It's okay. Like Olivia W., she was glancing from time to time, but it looked more natural than trying to read a prompter that's, underneath. And look at it, you'll see that people can tell that you're reading. And so that would be my only suggestion. You guys did a great job, don't get me wrong. But I just want to help your delivery and to free you up to trust yourselves. Both of you are amazing. I believe in you. I know you can do it from bullet points. And even without bullet points. But I always had my bullet points, so I wouldn't suggest not having something. But once you write those bullet points, practice them if you have time. You didn't have much time. And Jules didn't have much time. But that would be my suggestion. It's more natural to have those people understand. And sort of it's more transparent and honest, right, than, reading that prompter and trying to also look at the camera. But I think looking at the bullet points I think you'll be great. I have no doubt about it. So this would be my suggestion. Olivia W., that was a great story. I have to listen to it again. I didn't hear a limitation. Did you find the soundbite we were talking about?
Yeah, the guy said that sometimes doing it online can be make it so some people can't.
Okay, because he was not very viewer friendly, so maybe I missed something. But again, he was really, really important to your story. Love the way you framed the two, the character and the provider, and love the way you started with the character. She was just so colorful. I mean, really colorful, and wonderful as a human being. And ending with her saying, you know, I'm helping others now. You know, this is a wonderful story. And please send me a clip, because I want to send it before Wednesday to the Solutions people. I really liked it. Wonderful story. You did a great job. And again, stand-up was so creative. Yeah, very, very, very well done. I mean, this final news show, all of you shined. I know a few pieces didn't make it. They were late because we need a little more. When you go out into the real world, you will have late stories, you will have stories you have to do, you know, thinking on your feet. But here you could have prepared a little bit better, or earlier interviews, or taken an interview beforehand. With Olivia, you struggled, you pivoted 3 times, I think, then you went back to this wonderful TikTok story you were working on the previous week. And that sort of saved you, but you know, by the time I got to you, Logan had an earlier start, but by the time I got to your piece, because the script came a little bit when everybody else's scripts were coming in, I did look at it earlier, but it needed for me to look again. And you seem to be very well organized. You had edited it and just waiting for me to track it. But again, I was really disappointed that it didn't feed and we couldn't run it. But just, you know, when you go in the real world, try to get, you know, your ducks in order as much as possible beforehand. Maddie, that was a wonderful package. It was just so heartwarming, and it was like just slice of life kind of thing, you know, about real people and how they were rooting for this woman who was in the hospital, who was, it just was, it was a love. It's one of your best works, and you were very well organized, and you went and you shot that on your holiday, and it you know, you should be proud of that piece. It was very well shot, it was very well put together, very well written, and just it's memorable. It just stayed with me, and it grabbed my heart. Yeah. 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 One thing I forgot to mention, I was going to mention that you didn't need that second stand-up at the end because there was no information in it, and you had such great B-roll. That's the only thing, if I have to nitpick, was not to have that stand-up, because it had no, the one you had, the bridge stand-up, stood out for itself, no pun intended, stood up for itself. Yeah, but really like the stories that made air today, and the presentation, the sports was amazing. I just love that location, and the way you reference the stadium, saying it will be full, right? Right now it's empty, but it will be full. It's wonderful the way you did it. I was loving all these lives, and really, you know, Sydney, having those live teases, especially the one you weren't sure about where to place Josh's piece, but I liked it where we ended up deciding at the end, and you know, you were worried about, well, you know, where do I tease it, and how do I, you know, and you built up the interest with these constant teases. It really worked out very well. Uh, uh, yeah, Cooper, that turned out okay. That was a strange format with the guy in the small thing, but
did not look like that. And
yes,
then when it exported, it looked like that, and I was like, well, it's too late now.
that has happened to me as well. I don't remember. I used to know a way to make that not happen like this. I have to look back at my notes and stuff, but it worked out. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, what is this?" All right. Yeah. So okay, I told you guys about Maddie, Ashley, great reference, great. Yeah, and Josh is not here, but I think this is. Oh, I really. But did you hear me in the beginning sing your praises?
I don't think so.
Oh, you want me to sing them again? All right. Nice. This one of your strongest pieces. I love just teasing the way you teased it in different ways. That was very creative. And the package, the donut came together very well. You were spirited, you were engaging, you brought us, into what's going to happen there. Very well done. I would think that was one of your best pieces. I'm not sure if it's after the barber piece or maybe, but no, this was really good. And you had so many numerous sources. Those twins were so interesting. And of course you had someone who had participated before and was, trying to find out if they would win again. And so that was very, very, very well done. I really liked it. Yeah, McGregor, thank you for working very well with me. And what else? Yeah, I think anybody has questions for me? Did I miss anybody? So there are 5 minutes. I want to hear from somebody if you want to share an adventure or something you want us to know. Anybody wants to?
All right, I'll start things off. I just want to give another shout out to the fabulous tech team. I came in here and threw a lot of curveballs at y'all, a lot of wacky ideas. So Tom, Sailor, Michael, Jill, Cade, Sarah, Amanda, Sailor, Charles. I think that is all of y'all. If I forgot someone, you know that I love you, but thank y'all so much for an awesome show today. Really could not have asked for a better team to work with tech-wise. And then everyone in here, thanks for going along with my crazy ideas for this show. And I know we had a little stress moment. It was 4:45. I'm looking at my rundown, and over half of my content in the A block is missing. So that was a little stressful on my end, but we made it all work. We made air. It was great, and yeah, made it happen.
Yep, and you didn't have enough content by, at 1:30, and then all of a sudden you became
4 minutes over.
Yeah. Connor, would you like to say something about how we did digitally today?
Oh, then especially everyone that pivoted today, doing double duties. Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Well, digital was a little different, but it was a lot of fun. And tomorrow we have a really cute social post coming out for National Pet Day. We have some people in the newsroom, their pets in the
wonderful,
picture, so,
wonderful.
Go like it and everything so we can get our engagement back up. So,
Yes.
Yeah, pretty seamless day overall, so thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys. If nobody has anything to add, really proud of this last news day. You've made so much progress, each and every one of you. Even if your work didn't make it on air, you've made a lot of progress. I'm looking forward to the solutions story. Think about your solution, how to present it, what kind of a lead, how we can put all this together in an interesting way, even if we do some lives or whatever. And then the reflection show, find a blooper for the last one. Shh, don't tell the viewers that we will have some fun bloopers at the end. But yeah, so think about these things. Let's finish strong and have a wonderful memory with that reflection show. Make it your own. I've given you samples, but that doesn't mean you have to do it that way. And yeah, any questions, guys? Very, very well done. And I look forward to Wednesday. I told you we'll have a critique by the Solutions Journalism Network people, and we'll take it from there. We've got a little bit more now. The fun thing, you know. Wednesday should be easier because we've got our content down, but we all need to sort of. We won't have a pitch sheet unless there's some developing story or something we need to mark and cover. So we still need to have our finger on the pulse of the news because we're still in the news business. And maybe some of the solutions could be tied to news pegs. So think about how your solution story might be in the news. If it's a solution, so for example, today with the Louisville shooting, if your solution story was about a solution to shootings, you know, that could have been, unfortunately, a news peg to show some kind of a solution to these tragedies happening over and over again, and how to save lives. So this is just an example of how you can think about Wednesdays about your story. Is there something in the news, you know, that you could peg it to and show how that would be the best evidence that a solution works when you can tie it to actual news that's happening or that happened this week. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly on Wednesday. So, and yeah. All right, guys. Love you. Nice to be back with you in the newsroom. And I'll stay a little bit if anybody has some questions, anything, if I can help you with anything. And thanks for impressing my friends from CNN and Fox. They were really impressed.